winter is here. Hey everybody, it's time to talk about episode 10 of Game of Thrones season 6, The Winds of Winter, and it was just the most amazing season finale to date. I don't think there's been a better season finale. It just blew me away. Usually the 9th episode of the season is the best, but I found the 10th episode just as great in its own way. I love how in the beginning of the episode it was just very quiet and everyone was getting ready for Cersei and Loras's trial. I think it was a very good decision to make it very quiet like that because what it led up to was just completely nuts. Okay, so let's break down the events that went down in King's Landing. A lot happened and I'm going to try to cover it all. If I don't mention a few parts, forgive me. It was just so much. A lot happened. So the first thing we see Loras's trial. He confesses to all of his crimes and then renounces his name and title. He wants to devote his life to the faith now, and I just could not believe what I was seeing. And then I was like, yeah, he's just not going to get a chance. He's just not going to get a chance to fulfill that. And I was right. After Loras's trial, everyone starts looking around and wondering, where the hell is Cersei? Well, she is not there because she has other plans. We see the Mountain stop Tommen from attending the trial, and while this is going on, we see Cersei putting on this new outfit, and it's very just, yeah, she's battle ready. It's a very battle ready outfit, and I loved it. It was a great outfit. I hate Cersei, but this outfit was just killer. I could not get over it. Right when I saw the outfit she was putting on, I knew something horrible was about to happen. We see Lancel follow one of Qyburn's little birds out of the sept and into the catacombs, and this is when he gets stabbed by this little kid and finds the wildfire. It's just a ton of wildfire is down there, and there are a bunch of candles that are almost completely burnt out, and when they burn out, it's gonna blow up. Another thing that happens as all this is going down, we see Qyburn lead Pycelle into a trap and all of his little birds start attacking and killing Pycelle. I was so happy to see Maester Pycelle die. I hate him. I have hated him since season 1 and it was just a great moment to see him die. The thing that really hurt me to watch though was seeing so many characters die all at once. We see Marjorie and her father and everyone trying to get out of the sept when she announces that they need to get out of there because Cersei's not there, Tommen's not there, that means they are screwed. It seems like the High Sparrow is about to give in and let them all leave, and then the Great Sept of Baelor is blown up by wildfire. Yeah. And as if that wasn't enough, Tommen dies, and I predicted it, my prediction was correct, Tommen dies. The one thing I didn't see coming though was Tommen committing suicide. I did not see that coming. I did not see that one coming. I thought someone was gonna kill him. He just took a dive out of the window of the Red Keep. The last few things that we see happen in King's Landing are Cersei taking revenge on Septa Unella. You know, the shame lady. Shame. Yeah, she sets the mountain on her, and they don't show everything that he does, but I'm sure it was extremely horrifying and gruesome and just everything you would expect to come from the mountain. Everything you would expect and more. After that, we see Cersei looking upon Tommen's body, and she tells Qyburn to burn it and to bury it in the Great Sept, in the ashes of the Great Sept, I should say, because there's nothing left. It's just rubble. The next thing we see was just mind-blowing because Jaime arrives back at King's Landing and sees Cersei taking the Iron Throne, and he's like, yeah, this is very bad. This is very bad. A Cersei without kids to protect, to love and mother, and to humanize her a bit. Yeah, that doesn't bode well, but we know who her contender is, and she's not gonna stay queen very long. She's not gonna stay queen very long. Now, let's jump on over to Riverrun real quick and talk about what went down over there. A couple of things, and just the most amazing Arya moment ever happened. I could not get over it. I screamed so loud I think it was one of the most satisfying moments of the episode, besides one that I'm going to get to a little later on. We see Lord Walder Frey celebrating his triumph with Jaime on reclaiming Riverrun again, and a little later on, the most wonderful scene happens. Now, when Jaime was at this celebration, there was this one servant that was kind of looking his way, and Bronn was checking her out and stuff too, and I kept her in my mind. I kept her in my mind because for them to spend that much time focusing on her, it had me a little curious and cautious, and it paid off. It paid off. Shortly after all of this, we see Walder Frey go back into the Great Hall, and he has like a pie or something brought to him by that servant, and he's asking where his sons are. And the girl says, "In here. They're already here." And he's just looking around like, no they're not. And then he looks at the pie or cake or whatever it is, and he opens it up and he finds body parts, and he starts to freak out. And then I'm like, it's Arya, it's Arya, it's Arya. And yes, it's Arya. It is Arya. Arya takes the face of that girl off and tells Walder who she is and slits his throat. Yes. Yes. I am so happy she is already back in Westeros. I thought they were going to make us wait until season 7 for her to arrive back in Westeros, but I was pleasantly surprised by this scene. It was just everything. Well, not everything, because the other scene blew my mind as well and made me so happy as well, and I screamed as well for that one. Now let's jump on over to a couple of other places real quick and discuss what those characters are up to. Sam, Gilly, and Little Sam finally arrive at the Citadel, and we see Sam lay his eyes upon the great library of the Maesters, and it is just, it's beautiful, it's huge, and as a big reader myself and someone with a huge love of books, I just wanted to be in that room as well and to gaze upon all of those beautiful books. It was great. It was a great scene. And I'm so glad that they showed Sam one more time in this season. They didn't show him much, but yeah. Oh, and he still has his father's sword, so that's a thing. That's a thing. Another thing we see is a scene in Dorne that I did not expect. We see Olenna Tyrell is in Dorne. She is meeting with Ellaria and the Sand Snakes to discuss revenge, and out walks Varys, and then we know they are teaming up with Daenerys, and yes, yes. This is just, things are going to be going down in season 7. It's going to be great. Everyone is out for Lannister blood, and Cersei is going to die. Cersei is going to die. I think. Alright, so let's jump on over to Winterfell and talk about what happened over there in the season finale. We see Davos confront Melisandre about Shireen and her death in front of Jon. And she gets very quiet, and then she starts to try and defend herself, but she has no real defense because it was just a horrible decision, and she admits it. And Jon doesn't kill her, but he tells her to head south, and if she comes back, she will be hung as a murderer. And I think that's the best way he could have thanked her for bringing him back to life. Do I think she's gonna stay away for long? I don't think so. I don't think she's gonna stay away. I think she'll get back over there somehow, and somehow won't be killed as a murderer. I could be wrong, but I just don't see her staying away from Jon when she believes him to be the prince who was promised. The next thing we see is a white raven arriving at Winterfell from the Citadel, and Sansa telling Jon that winter is finally here. They have a really great conversation there, and one thing that I'm really glad Sansa did is apologize to Jon for lying to him. Yeah, that was just really, that was a bad move on her part. And Jon is pretty forgiving. The next thing they talk about is Littlefinger. Jon doesn't know a lot about Littlefinger, so he's asking Sansa about him and asks her if they can trust him. She tells him that no, you can never trust Littlefinger. After that, we see a scene where Sansa is sitting at the weirwood tree in Winterfell, and Littlefinger approaches her, and tells her what he wants, and she brushes him off. He wants to be the king. He wants the Iron Throne, and he wants Sansa to be his queen. Then he tries to lay a kiss on her, and she pushes him away. I'm pretty sure that's gonna come to bite her in the butt in the future. I don't know when, but Littlefinger does not do well with rejection. I'm gonna get back to Winterfell in just a moment, but first, let's jump to the Wall and talk about the big revelation that happened at the Wall. Uncle Benjen delivers Bran and Mira to the Wall and tells them that he can't go with them because he is not really alive and he has to keep fighting the White Walkers and all that north of the Wall. So he heads off. I'm sure we're gonna see him again. This is not gonna be the last we see of Benjen. After this, we see Bran gaze upon the weirwood tree right there, and it's just real handy. It's right there because, yeah. Mira then asks him if he is ready for this, and he tells her, I'm the three-eyed raven now. So he puts his hand on the weirwood tree, and it happens. It happens. We see the full Tower of Joy scene, and R plus L equals J is 100% confirmed. Yes. And of course, we get to see just a full scene with Lyanna. I love that we got to see this scene. It was so wonderful and just everything I wanted and more. And we saw a baby Jon, and Bran is freaking out because he does not know what to think. What is happening in front of his eyes is not what he expected to see. And he sees Lyanna get Ned to promise her to protect Jon, and it's perfect. It's perfect, and I think I teared up a little. I was just so happy at this moment. And right when we see baby Jon's face, it fades into grown-up Jon's face, and he is in the hall in Winterfell, and we see Lyanna Mormont stand up and proclaim Jon Snow the new King of the North. And before I go on about this, I'm just wondering, am I the only one that was slightly disturbed with seeing Lyanna Mormont smile? It kind of creeped me out. I'm just putting it out there. It creeped me out a bit, just a bit. But right after she proclaims him King of the North, all the other houses, including House Glover, proclaim him their king. And after all this, we see Jon's face. He's stunned, speechless, because this has come right after he has pronounced that the war is not over, the White Walkers and stuff are coming, and everyone needs to get ready. And it's just a really big moment for his character, especially because everyone now knows, and it is confirmed, he is Rhaegar and Lyanna's son. And if Rhaegar and Lyanna were married in secret, that would make him the true heir to the throne. Right after Jon is proclaimed the King of the North, though, we see a scene, a glance between Sansa and Littlefinger, and it makes me a little wary for the future between those two and the future between Sansa and Jon, because Sansa acted all cool with Jon taking over Winterfell, but then she started to feel a little, at the end there. So I really wonder what's going to happen between her and Jon in season 7. Alright, so last but certainly not least, let's talk about what went down in Meereen. We see Daenerys sadly ending things with Daario. Tyrion has suggested this to her because she needs to be free from any entanglements when she arrives in Westeros, because if she wants to get married one day, yeah, she can't be with Daario. And she then asks Daario to run Meereen for her, and he takes things okay, a lot better than I expected. He's a trooper. I felt really bad for him though, because it's Daario and I love Daario, and I really hope that he doesn't stay in Meereen for long. I hope she has him come to Westeros in the future, because it would suck not to have Daario on the show. He's great. After that, we see her and Tyrion having a discussion about the future and what her plans are going to be, and then she names Tyrion Hand of the Queen. He is her hand now, and this is such a moment for Tyrion. He has got this. He has earned this. He is being truly valued and being given this position because of his knowledge and what she can do for him. It's not a family scheme or anything like that. It is just her recognizing his value and rewarding it. And he is just so honored. I love how he tells her, I would offer you my sword, but I don't actually own one. It is just, it's great. I love how he just added that in there, and they play off each other so well, and I cannot wait to see what happens when they arrive in Westeros. Cersei is gonna lose it seeing Tyrion by Daenerys' side. It's going to drive her mad. Also, I really hope there is a reunion scene between Tyrion and Bronn. I think that would be a really interesting scene after all that each of them have been through. And to see how Jaime is going to react as well to Tyrion being the hand of Daenerys. It's just going to be such an amazing season next year. I cannot wait. In the very last scene of this episode, we see Daenerys, all of her allies, and her armies sailing for Westeros, and her dragons flying above. It is spectacular to watch, and Daenerys' ship is just, it's stunning. It's stunning. The dragon on it and everything. It's beautiful. And yeah, I love ships. I love pretty ships, and yeah, that was awesome. And one thing that just cracked me up, and throughout the season it really cracked me up, all of the characters were just jumping to different locations so quickly. I mean, we just saw Varys in Dorne, and then we see him back in Meereen, and they are all sailing off from Dragon's Bay, and I just don't know. I really loved this final scene. We saw Theon, Yara, Missandei, Grey Worm, Tyrion, Daenerys, Varys, just, it's so great. And she's got allies in Westeros and all over now, and she is going to raise hell in season 7. I just hope her and Jon aren't pitted against each other and they form an alliance, because yeah, that would suck. I've always envisioned them forming an alliance in the future, and especially now that we know they are 100% confirmed related. This is her last living relative. Hopefully when Daenerys and her armies arrive in Westeros, they don't spend too much time taking over King's Landing and head north very quickly to help Jon and his armies in fighting the Night's King. And I wonder if Daenerys is going to get wind of everything going on beyond the wall and decide to go take care of that first, or if she's going to take King's Landing first. It'll be interesting to see. This season of Game of Thrones absolutely blew me away. I cannot believe everything that went down this season, and I'm really sad that season 7 is going to be so short. One thing that I noticed, but I'm actually glad about in this new season, was the fact that because Ghost wasn't shown all the time, we didn't have to watch him get killed. So Ghost is alive, they just didn't show him, so they chose not to kill him. So I'd rather Ghost not be shown and not be killed than be shown and be killed. I think Bran might get Ghost and bring him to Winterfell. It's just a thought, because since Bran is now at the wall, I mean, why wouldn't he get Ghost and bring him to Winterfell? I didn't see Ghost among Jon's party when he left the Night's Watch. I didn't see him, so I'm assuming Ghost is still over there. Because if Ghost were around and not at the wall, we would probably have seen him more this season. Well, that concludes this recap and review. If you enjoyed this, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.